Hey guys, Script here with another video, and this is just something super funny, and it's one of these cast interviews leading up to the Acolyte, and one of the guys that plays one of the Jedis in it, he makes a big mistake, and it's funny. It is funny, and, it might speak to something larger about whether or not these people are paying attention, whether or not they care about what they're doing. It could be an honest mistake. Either way, it's funny, but, it speaks, there's another issue here that they're actually addressing in this clip. And so I thought it was important to talk about that just briefly, just so that you guys get an idea of the thought process behind this show and what Disney Star Wars is trying to do and has been trying to do for some time now. So let's just take a quick listen. It is funny, but anyways, let's just listen.
People have been talking to me online about how Darth Vader is such a bad person. It's very clear, and it's very well established from those actions. But if you can't look and see that Anakin blowing up the Death Star possibly killed millions and millions of people, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this right now.
So it's funny that he screws up and says Anakin because he's not thinking straight or whatever. Maybe he's excited. I just thought it was funny. I'm not reading into it too much in terms of whether or not he cares about Star Wars. There's people on Twitter like, oh, it shows that they hate Star Wars. He just made an honest mistake. He said Anakin instead of Luke. But what you have to understand is what he's talking about, the context. He talks about Darth Vader and how evil he is. And then he's essentially comparing the evil of Darth Vader to, well, hold on now, Luke also blew up the Death Star and killed millions of people. And this is their mindset of these people that are making these shows now. It's about blurring the lines. It's not about having true heroes. It's not about having true villains. It's not about having good and evil clearly identifiable, which again was the entire thing with George Lucas. He said it numerous times. These are timeless stories, timeless issues, and they are issues of good and evil. And now they're blurring the line, and even the actors that are in these shows are like, well, Luke killed a bunch of people. Yeah, you're right. So maybe Luke should have just let them keep the Death Star so they can blow up more planets. He should have just, the rebels should have just said, yeah, we're just becoming like Darth Vader if we destroy the Empire that just blew up a planet with billions of people on it. Like, this is the mentality of these people that are producing Star Wars now. It's not just the actors. I mean, you see the lines being blurred by the showrunners all the time, the way they talk about it. Leslie Headland has clearly alluded to it. Oh, we're going to see the Sith perspective, and it's not so clear, and all these things, So, it's funny. It's a funny clip, and everyone's laughing at this guy on Twitter and social media and mocking him. But at the end of the day, stop and think. Yeah, he made a mistake in what he was saying, and it is funny. But what is he really saying, and what are these guys really planning on doing with this show? That's the big question. And that's, in my view, very clear. And so I'm preparing myself mentally for the fact that they are going to probably do some pretty bad things in this show in terms of lore, in terms of the way things are presented. And it's one of the reasons I wasn't a huge fan of Andor, is that Andor, despite it being not very Star Wars-y in terms of the action-adventure side of it and the way it was written, Andor is blurring the lines between good and evil, right? So Luthen is not really good or bad. He's just He's just a mush. Mothma isn't good or bad. She's just a mush. She's willing to pimp her daughter out for money. All these characters, Andor, is he the good guy? Because he's like, right off the bat, he's a murderer in cold blood. He's sleeping with prostitutes. He gets up out of bed and there's a random woman in his bed when he's on that one vacation planet or whatever. There's just this push now to blur the lines between good and evil. And I've said it once and I'll say it again. That isn't Star Wars. That was never Star Wars. The lines were clearly delineated. And if we're going to sit there and say that Luke Skywalker is no different than Vader because he blew up the Death Star, where are we? Is this a signal of where culture is? Where millennials' heads are at? This is the type of stuff that they think? Like, do they really rationalize things that way? Well, Vader wasn't that bad because look what Luke did. Like, do they really think like that? And so that's what they're putting into Star Wars now? So, all that to say, it's just disappointing. It's just a disappointment after disappointment after disappointment. And all we really wanted was just normal Star Wars, which is fairly simple. It's not very difficult to figure out. But they just couldn't do it. And they have to insert their worldview into everything instead of just doing what the creator of Star Wars thought was the thing to do, which is to have those clear lines delineated, good, evil, the struggle with being tempted by the dark, by the bad things, the overcoming of the evil through love, all those timeless things, Luke saving his father, blah, 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 and then his father saving him. All that to say, guys, yeah, just I'm very disappointed. So let me know in the comment section what you think. Are you anticipating this show to be a mockery, or will it be good? Or are we still just completely in the dark, or are some of these things clear evidence of what they're going to be doing going forward? And if you like this content, please like and subscribe. It always helps the channel. Feel free to check out anything else on my channel. Have yourselves a really good day.